Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of D-Mystif History. You might be among those who remember or even picture an Apollo, a small man with big ambitions. Well, think again. This image is just a myth. On June 18, 2015, marking the bicentennial of the Battle of Waterloo. Let's begin with the expression Napoleon complex, which simply means an inferiority complex. It comes from the implication that Napoleon was short, but that's just a myth that we're going to tackle today. Let's get to the heart of the matter. Most historians now agree the French emperor's actual height was 1.68 meters. That may seem short now, but people back then weren't as tall as today's 1.75 meter average. We don't have precise figures for that time. Nevertheless, we know two things. The first is that the average height of French conscripts in 1900 was 1.66 meters. The second is that the average height in the country was lower than that in 1800. Anthropologists estimate the height at 1.64 meters. Being established, it's easy to understand that Napoleon therefore had a completely normal and average height for his time. So the big question is, why did this myth exist then? The first hypothesis lies in a very probable conversion error between the metric system introduced by the French Revolution, which was therefore very new at the time, and the British Imperial measurement system. An incorrect conversion from meters to inches. Then Napoleon was often seen, especially by his enemies, surrounded by his guard, the famous Imperial Guard. The fact is that the soldiers and officers of the Guard were selected for their tall stature. Thus, a minimum height of 1.83 meters for grenadiers and 1.73 meters for chasseurs was required. If you remember the estimated average height of men at the time, imagine the size of these fellows compared to their fathers. That's like meeting a 2-meter tall guy today. Everyone but the Dutch looks tiny and almost ridiculous beside such a giant. That would explain why, in perspective, Napoleon actually appears smaller than the men around him. And this is confirmed by the many paintings of the emperor that have come down to us. Finally, Bonaparte's enemies were legion in Europe. He had been given all sorts of unflattering nicknames by his enemies. The English, likely France's fiercest enemy then, were among the most outspoken on this topic. The argument about Napoleon's height, based on the two elements mentioned earlier, was likely just used as propaganda. Yes, making him look ridiculous was meant to remove the fear. The one who was supposed to conquer Europe from Lisbon to Moscow seemed less frightening to the British people. In conclusion, Napoleon was of average height for his time. But after all, size doesn't matter. The emperor with 50 mistresses proves that in every way. So it's on this slightly below the belt note that the episode ends. Don't hesitate to like, comment, share, and join me on social networks, Google+ and Facebook.